I've proposed debates to Cenk with us between you, me, him, and Anna, and he didn't take me up on that. So I'm just like being honest, like 100%. Like, this is what I've suggested. I think it was about a year ago, specifically on trans issues. And so if and when I'm ever on the main show and the trans issue comes up, like, we will only talk about it then. But like, let's be real, like, there aren't many opportunities to actually listen to what I believe Cenk thinks are good faith voices. And I usually don't get, personally, I don't get them. I don't think you get too many of them either. I'm just being honest. Like I don't know who's good faith anymore. I mean, honestly, tomorrow I could be seen as bad faith. Just even saying the thing I'm saying, I might be bad faith. I don't know. Like, it really is actually upsetting and it's scary because I've tracked some of the people who they think are bad faith, and do not read the same at all. I don't get that at all. And so, as someone who's also tried to hold my tongue, as someone who's also scared for my job, like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know what to do anymore. Like, you don't know what to do anymore.
The vanguard will be there, sir.
This is another interesting moment where John Iadarola and Francesca Fiorentini of the Damage Report get into some more thoughts on this recent TYT drama and a lot of the backlash that Cenk and Anna have been experiencing from their own audience and their own employees, like Mondale Robinson, who just left TYT recently, quit very publicly and powerfully. And Zach, I think we have an announcement in that regard as well.
100%. Mayor Robinson is going to be joining us on our show tomorrow at about 2:00 in the afternoon, Central Standard Time. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. He will be joining us. But yeah, I'm super excited to hear from John and Francesca, two of the last really true ardent progressives at the Young Turks Network.
Okay. I don't want to go into a whole long thing about this, but Cosmere Dragon says in a super chat, John, I know you won't read this live. Well, I will. But the issue many take with Cenk and Anna is that they refuse to have these conversations with many important leftist figures or address criticism in good faith. Look, I will say what I think they think is that they think that there is good faith criticism, and some of it they think of it as not good faith criticism. And I think there have been ongoing feuds now for a long time that if you put yourself in the position of anybody involved in either side of this, it can be very hard to see the other side as operating in good faith when you've been fighting for a long time. I'm not in these feuds. I can only say that as an outsider, it's very difficult when you like both sides of a conflict. As I said earlier, I think we should talk more. I think that would be helpful. And
sounds like he's talking about like Russia, Ukraine. I'm not even kidding.
It's Hatfields and McCoys, but of bread tube. You know what I mean? And it honestly, it kind of feels like John is talking directly to the Vanguard. You know what I mean? I would be happy to have John Iadarola on the Vanguard at any time. I think he is a really sharp guy. I think he's a real true progressive, and I have never once said anything negative about him. I don't think on air at all. I would never do that because I don't think that there's ever been a reason to come for the guy. He has been totally immune to the brainwash,
super chill guy,
lead poison takes from Cenk and Anna. Potentially just, a few feet over, depending on the layout of that studio. And, at times he's on the main desk right beside them. But I am happy to see that he was willing to take this question. At least it does show that he's, feels like he's got the leniency to, get into it a little bit.
Right.
Productive, not just for these individuals, but much more importantly for the movement and for progress.
I mean,
but obviously there's some human reasons it's difficult. I want to facilitate more of these conversations. I literally do.
I've proposed debates to Cenk with us between you, me, him, and Anna, and he didn't take me up on that. So I'm just like being honest, like 100%. Like, this is what I suggested. I think it was about a year ago, specifically on trans.
Shout out to Francesca, bro. That's a ballsy thing to do. Like, again, I want everybody to remember Francesca's a worker at the Young Turks Network. How often do you guys put your balls on the table and say, hey, boss, I want to debate on camera. I want to go lock horns with you and talk some sense into you. It's a very difficult proposition, and it shows how courageous and the conviction that Francesca has, right? She did not want to just let go of TYT, and she wants to, it seems, still fight for its progressive namesake. But it's really telling that Cenk and Anna are afraid to engage with that, even with someone as trusted as an individual they employ and ostensibly have a good relationship with.
Yeah, it's absolutely crazy that in the same week that we find this out, Cenk is also going around right-wing YouTube, spreading his 3 rules for the internet. The first one of which is when we disagree, we fight. And then the second of which is afterwards, let's get a beer. Again, that's his rules for Patrick Bet-David and Tim Pool and Glenn Beck and some of the worst people alive. But his own co-hosts, his own employees, the people that are part of the TYT family, like Francesca, those rules don't apply to them. Francesca just said we tried to hash this out. We publicly or privately tried to set up a debate with Cenk in good faith, and he turned it down. So whatever happened to the 3 rules of the internet, bro? Whatever happened to that? You just completely made it up, or you're just only applying it to right-wing shows and right-wing commentators? That's insane.
And none of those right-wing audience are buying the bullshit that he's selling. So he's literally the snake eating its own tail. He's literally being so vicious with his own audience and unwilling to engage with his own contributors, and then going out and saying nobody wants to debate with me in good faith. Well, hold on. You don't think John and Francesca are in good faith? They've literally stood by your network through all of this as you've circled the drain, as people like us have made a mockery of what you stand for. And of course, we always put first and foremost, we are never taking shots at people like John or Francesca or Jordan Ewell or these real good progressives left at the network, the workers at the network. But Cenk and Ana are the executive producers. They're the bosses, and they're also the primary voices of the network. And they've been going down the drain and then turning around and lying like nobody wants to engage with them on the left and how the left left them.
Yep. 100%. Let's hear that one more time from Francesca and then some more as well.
Facilitate more of these conversations. I literally do.
I've proposed debates to Cenk with us between you, me, him, and Ana, and he didn't take me up on that. So I'm just like being honest, like 100%. Like this is what I've suggested. I think it was about a year ago, specifically on trans issues. And so if and when I'm ever on the main show and the trans issue comes up, like we will only talk about it then. But like, let's be real, like there aren't many opportunities to actually listen to what I believe Cenk thinks are good faith voices. And I usually don't get, personally, I don't get them. I don't think you get too many of them either. I'm just being honest. Like I don't know who's good faith anymore. I mean, honestly, tomorrow I could be seen as bad faith. Just even saying the thing I'm saying, I might be bad faith. I don't know. Like it really is actually upsetting and it's scary because I've tracked some of the people who they think are bad faith and do not read the same at all. I don't get that at all. And so as someone who's also tried to hold my tongue, as someone who's also scared for my job.
Yeah, and what she's referencing is that basically anyone that's pushed back publicly on Cenk and Ana at all is now considered bad faith or a low-life, low-rent grifter by Cenk Uygur. People like Emma Vigeland, Sam Cedar, Lance from the Surfs, like totally respectable commentators, not people that dwell in the gutter even, not that it matters, but totally respectable lefties. You know what I'm saying? Just normal people doing their job, expressing their opinion that at one point respected Cenk and Ana, at one point maybe had a relationship with them. Now they're persona non grata. Now they've been ostracized and smeared by Cenk and Ana because of their willingness to say anything out loud and be like, hey, this is how I feel. I'd like to push back. I don't agree with this perspective being espoused on a show that I once enjoyed. It's wild. And that's what she's talking about, because she's right. There's nothing separating what she's doing right now on the damage report from what Emma Vigeland has done on the majority report or what Lance did on the Surfs or any of these former TYT contributors.
No, and it's almost Orwellian, the level of thought policing that she has to undergo. And you can tell how stressful it is. Guys, that's not how you run a business. That's not how you treat people. Do you see the stress that his employees are under trying to walk the line as they're paid to come out here and shoot from the hip? Oh, you're supposed to come out here and just say how you feel. Guys, oh my gosh, we're the Young Turks. Just go out there and tell the truth, man. Just go out there and tell the truth. Well, she's horrified to tell the truth because she probably needs to pay rent with the money that the guy who she has to talk about, if she wants to be honest, being wrong, that guy has to sign her check. And that's scary, guys. It's very Trumpian. If we were talking about some amorphous Silicon Valley startup guy who ran a blog, we would talk about him like he was an asshole, like he was a deranged, crazy person, like he did not know how to respect journalistic lines, that he didn't know how to be an editor, that he didn't know how to be a producer, that he was a maniacal, sociopathic narcissist that was going to let all of his friends and contributors suffer because he wanted to have more time on air and he couldn't dare be challenged by anybody that he viewed as his underling. Okay, so it's not at all an equal platform for them to have disagreements. Yep. And she's still willing to go out there and do it, and he's still afraid.
Yep, and you're 100% right. It literally is like how authoritarians operate. It is very Trumpian. How do authoritarian dictators operate when there's critics of the regime? They have those people disappeared. They don't try to understand or come to terms with or hash out whatever's going on. No, they have their critics disappeared because that's the best way from their perspective to deal with the problem. Just root out everyone that speaks out. And obviously, Cenk and Ana are just YouTube hosts. They don't have any power of that variety, but what they are trying to do to anyone who does criticize them is destroy their careers. That's what this is. Cenk and Ana have over and over again tried to destroy the careers of up and coming young progressive commentators like our friend Lance, like our friend Benny, who spoke out and publicly disagreed. And they said, all right, well, that's it. You're done. You're off this network. You're ostracized. You're excommunicated. And we're going to smear you behind your back where you cannot defend yourself to our millions and millions of subscribers.
And do you know who else did that? I don't know, maybe 4.5, 5 years before them, that they used to hate, they used to roast, they used to malign, they used to lampoon, they used to talk about how disgusting and odious and bigoted he was. Oh, yeah. That's the exact formula that Jimmy Dore used all the time. All the time. When we were up and coming podcasters, we didn't know any better. Jimmy Dore hits us up when we were nobodies. And he's like, oh, hey, like, I like what you guys are doing. And we were like, oh, shit, like, we like what you're doing. Like, we don't agree on everything, but, thanks for reaching out to us, right? And he wanted us to kiss the ring forever. Now, then he starts sending us a bunch of crazy shit about Syria and all these kinds of things while we're trying to have a pleasant conversation with Ryan Grimm. We're like, this guy is a psychopath. And we figured it out pretty quickly. But that's the kind of deranged behavior that a guy like Jimmy Dore has, right? Yep. Where it's like the second you start saying things that they disagree with, they lose their mind and excommunicate you and try and use what little power they have to squash you. It's just a shame to see Cenk and Ana go down that same road, just like Jimmy did. Yep.
Bad faith. Just even saying the thing I'm saying, I might be bad faith. I don't know. Like it really is actually upsetting and it's scary because I've tracked some of the people who they think are bad faith and do not read the same at all. I don't get that at all. And so as someone who's also tried to hold my tongue, as someone who's also scared for my job, like, what I'm saying? I don't know what to do anymore. Like you don't know what to do anymore except for be honest. Again, and so.
And that's what I'm trying to do. And I'm trying to have empathy for people who, again, when you are in an ongoing fight, it is difficult to see other people as operating.
Not my place to say, but it almost sounded like she was like, yeah, but you're being a little bit of a fence sitter. You're being a little bit of a company man, John. Not my place to say, but that was what I read from her pushback. I'm also seeing tears in this woman's eyes. So she's clearly being very vulnerable right now.
Oh yeah, you're 100% right. That's what's going on for sure.
Good faith. And also I don't think naive. I don't think literally everybody is operating in good faith. I don't think that literally everybody doesn't have some sort of motivation. I do think, again, I was not familiar with any of that debate stuff that you were talking about, but we have vigorous disagreements on the main show. We likely will tomorrow. So anyway, again, we'll talk more over time. We have stuff that we have to get to, but I hear what you're saying. Okay, for now, let's talk about a disagreement.
Brutal. Yeah, and it's like, I mean, John is right. I'm sure from the perspective of the people in the fight, I'm sure it doesn't feel good to get called out. Like, I'm sure from Cenk and Ana's perspective, they don't love it. They don't like seeing former colleagues and former employees turn on them and, roast them publicly. I mean, of course, that's not pleasant, but that doesn't justify their response, and not that I have any beef with John, but I do kind of sense and agree with Francesca's frustration there, where she's like, all right, but this isn't just a both sides situation. It's not like, oh, our two best friends are in a fight and they both did something wrong and they both need to apologize to each other. No, Emma Vigeland, Sam Cedar, Lance from the Surfs, the list, all Mike these people, Mike Figueredo, all these people, they have nothing to apologize for. They have done nothing wrong. Cenk and Ana have just gaslit people into trying to think that they have, that somehow they've been disloyal and that they've betrayed some sort of a friendship by publicly condemning what Cenk and Ana have clearly tried to execute, which is a right-wing pivot, a grift. But no, none of these people have anything to apologize for. The only people that have anything to apologize for is Cenk and Ana.
100%. And you know what? I totally understand why John Iadarola would want to put some distance between this. If he, this is his baby, he's built up the damage report. He is a worker. It is a perfectly rational response. I think, not placing any value judgments, I think that Francesca might be taking a more courageous approach. I think that she might be taking a more direct approach. I think she feels like if she stays at the network, then she has an obligation to speak out, that she has an obligation to differentiate herself from the talking points that are being espoused by the main host that she vehemently disagrees with.
Kind of like Brianna Joy Gray's approach to staying at the Hills Rising after Katie Halper was fired. If you remember that, she like doubled down on her pro-Palestinian coverage.
Exactly. You know, there's a way to be like, guys, I need this job. This is my job. I'm not going to fuck around and get fired because I can't afford that. That's a worker issue, right? You can't just expect a worker to leave their job, leave their income. We don't know what kind of obligations anyone has, but I do think it's going to be harder and harder for John Iadarola to ignore the fact that his audience is pissed off. And yeah, sorry for the lens flare. I've been really into J.J. Abrams recently. You know what? We're on our this is Valhalla. We're Vanguard Valhalla. I thought I fixed this today, so I'm a little annoyed, but we're just gonna ride it out anyway.
It's inevitable. There's no way to stop it.
Shout out to the audience for putting up with it. But anyway, damage report. Cast your vote. Who is your garbage person of the week? GOP Rep Eli Crane for wanting to give Daniel Penny a medal. Boo. Donald Trump for wanting to deport American citizens. Boo. Megyn Kelly for victim blaming Pete Hegseth's accuser. Boo. Lara Trump for claiming she has the record to be a senator. Boo. No, everyone. The people have spoken and they said, where's Anna on this list? In no particular order, guys. We're going to go down through like 15 comments. Cenk and Anna still enjoying the damage report, though. Ooh, another one. Ooh. Hey, John, when are you going to address the fact that Anna and Cenk have decided to kiss the ring and go the Morning Joe route? Just hoping you don't cave in also. We still love you, John. I'd stop putting Trump on these lists. He's got a lifetime achievement, blah, blah, blah. Okay, there we go. How about Ana Kasparian? I'm not seeing her name on there. It's getting harder to watch your show, John, with your boss being a turncoat and all. Time for a raise, John, a big one. This one says, John, if you go independent, we'll follow you. You forgot TYT main show for turning to MAGA, Glenn Beck, and etc. My vote is for Cenk and Anna as the garbage of the week. Then finally you get to the first one that's not related to Cenk and Anna at all, and it says Merrick Garland. Then it goes right back to the fucking deluge of comments, and they all have, 50 to 250, some of them even more upvotes than that. Clearly, if you're engaging with the content creator's post, like that's how Gavin and I know we're talking to our hardcores, right? And that's why he wanted those people to participate in his poll. John is looking at these. He is seeing the outcry from his audience, and I hope that he feels encouraged by all of the support, and I hope that he feels like he will have a soft landing if he does, not leave TYT, but maybe take a harsher tone with Cenk. And, if the worst happens, people come to his rescue because he has put in so much work and done such a great job for so many years on that network that people would love to support him when he goes independent. Just like Francesca has a great show called The Bituation Room, which just hit 100,000 subs. You guys can check out and support these people if Cenk does lose his mind and retaliate.
Yeah, 100%. I actually think that at this point, John should 100% take the damage report independent, not just because like he should, not just like as a moral stand or as a protest against Cenk or Anna or whatever. Like he can do that if he wants. I don't really give a shit about that. What I think from his perspective, just from the perspective of a commentator, how many more times do you want to have to deal with this, bro? Like, do you really want this albatross around your neck going forward for the rest of your career as a political commentator? Do you really want to have to spend the rest of your life defending Cenk and Anna or apologizing for whatever bullshit they're out there saying, or at very, most like tiptoeing around it as you have been? No one wants to do that. Imagine having to do that, Zach. Imagine having to be like, yep, the Vanguard will continue regardless of whatever our parent company / terrible boss is out there doing and saying. Sorry about that, guys. We're just going to pretend that nothing is different, though. That would suck. It's one of the number one reasons I'm so glad our show is 100% independent. We're only accountable to you guys. We don't have a parent company. We don't have anything. It's just us. We're a two-man band. We're accountable to each other and you guys, like I said. Right. So from John's perspective, that would be on my mind. Also, Zach, if you scroll down a little bit, there's that comment, Ana Kasparian, for her bad faith takes on Emma Vigeland's framing of issues. In addition to Mondale Robinson's exit from TYT, I really think this comment sums up the big beef that a lot of loyal TYT viewers have with Cenk and Anna. And I think really when Ana Kasparian disgustingly turned on Emma Vigeland, lied about her, smeared her, and actually took her out of context, doing what she claims her left-wing critics have done to her, I think that was also a final straw for a lot of people. Why? Because not only was it disgustingly dishonest, but it totally exposed Ana Kasparian as the phony hypocrite that she is. Anna's been out here trying to, make this an identity thing and blame everyone who criticizes her of, not caring about women's issues or not believing women when they share a story or something like that. The wild stuff when no one.
Titillating.
Yeah, exactly. But then here she is, totally willing to throw a former female colleague under the bus, totally willing to lie about a fellow woman in this media space on disgusting grounds that are easily, instantly disprovable. I mean, it kind of gives away the whole game, right? You don't care about women. You don't care about any of these phony feminist issues that you're using to disguise what you're doing with. No, none of that is at all important to you in a genuine sense. You were only using it as a bludgeon against your critics, which again is exposed when you try to do that to Emma Vigeland. There's just simply no grounds on which you can stand to bring that charge. It's ridiculous. So I think that was a big final straw for folks too.
Oh, 100%.
Look out the door if you hear an ambulance. The Vanguard will be there.